It has been 9.5 long years, but we have finally made it to the position of Diamond Senior Vice President. The way things were looking, I was starting to believe that I don't know if success was written in my future. I grew up right here in Baltimore, Maryland. So let's give it up for everyone who's from Baltimore. And as William said, life has not been a crystal stair. I grew up in a single family home or single parent home, and I would sit there sometimes and watch others who always had more than my family. How many of you have been in that situation before? How many of you know anything about growing up and just really not having a lot? I'm always proud of what my mother did, but I remember those days of eating food that said, "Do not sell" on it. Does anybody know anything about that? Or do we have a lot of privileged people in here? So I grew up kind of not having a lot. And I take a look at the streets that I grew up in, and to see that through all of those things, that I finally made it to another level of success in life, and I couldn't be happier. And I really want to just give it back to each and every single one of you, because I wouldn't be here without you. So please give yourselves a round of applause. This journey has been amazing, ups and downs, highs and lows. And I started to think that the position of Diamond Senior Vice President, what is the definition of a diamond? Like, what does it actually mean? If you take a look at it, it's this pure and extremely hard form of carbon. It's transparent, it's flawless, and almost a flawless piece of stone. Now here's the part, especially when cut and polished. How many of you know that you might need to make some changes in order for you to turn in to that Diamond Senior Vice President? And I started to think about, what did it take for us to get here? What does it take to make a diamond? I've heard so many times in my organization, so many people ask me, how do you find the leaders of the company? How do you find that next Tupac Shakur? How do you find that next Barry Johnson? Where do they come from? So I want to talk a little bit about this, because everyone is trying to get to this position, but a lot of us, we start off as this piece of coal. How many pieces of coal do we have in here right now? It's some work, right? But here it is. In order to make a diamond, if you're a piece of coal, it needs to be able to take high temperatures and what else? High what? Pressure, in order to make this diamond. And I started to look at it, and where can a coal be found? And it says that a coal can be found underground, where most people wouldn't even know where to look. So a lot of times we go out here and we're looking for these reds. How many of you know we always say, look for the reds? But a diamond can be found underground. And I truly believe that's where we started, in a place where no one would even think that we would be the first Diamond Senior Vice Presidents in this company. Throughout the years of working this business, I've been very shy. Do you believe that? I started off very shy. I was the type of person who really just didn't feel comfortable talking to people. And I remember having to make those changes to transform and really try to make myself someone who I wasn't. And even to this day, I was backstage just now, and I was talking to the co-founders, and they said, "Are you ready?" And I said, "I'm ready." And they said, "What's wrong?" I said, "I'm nervous." I said, even today, 9.5 years later, this business still makes me nervous. How many of you get nervous when you have to go out and talk to people? Raise your hand. How many of you get nervous when you have to pick up that phone and call someone to get a customer? But here's the good thing, and this is what I had to learn to grow through. In order to get to Diamond, you have to be able to take the pressure. So I had to make the phone calls. I had to push myself to talk to people. It wasn't easy, and it still isn't easy today. Sometimes when things are hard, guess what? You have to keep going. You have to keep making sure that you're pushing yourself beyond your limits. Now, I love this. How many of you seen this on Facebook? It shows you two gentlemen, both digging for what? Diamonds. They're both trying to find that leader within their organization. And throughout the years, I remember plenty of times of almost wanting to give up, almost feeling like, you know what? I don't know if this thing is going to work for me. I remember being a national director in the business, and there was this one time when I was making really good money, and then I started to produce leaders in my organization, and I started to get cut out of money. And then I started to think, well, I don't know. I'm not making the $20,000 a month that I see everybody else make. I'm not making the $30,000 a month. And there were a period of time when I almost wanted to give up. I was thinking to myself, I can do something else. Maybe I can get into another business. Maybe I can get into real estate. I can just make money in another way. Maybe this just is not for me. And I remember almost giving up. And I had a conversation with myself because I almost felt like there were two people in my ear. It was the person telling me you can do better, and then it was the person telling me, well, what did you get started for in the first place? If you're going to be here, if you know it can work, why not just get to the end? Why not just make it happen? If it can really happen, do it. And if you don't think it's for you, after you're making $20,000 a month, then quit. Let me tell you what happened from that day. It was only 30 days later, I hit the position of senior vice president. Another 30 days later, I had a pastor come into my organization, and we had 60 applications the first meeting. 30 days after that, I get a check from 5 Links for $20,000. Now, of course, I was excited, right? I'm doing cartwheels in my kitchen. I'm all excited. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. It really does work. It did happen. They didn't just make it up. It's not too late. Someone like me can really make it to the top. And then I asked myself in that moment, are you ready to quit? What do you think the answer was? Of course not. No one wants to quit when you're on your top of your game. No one does. When you're making money, when things are going great, everything is good. You never have a negative thought. It's when times are bad when you start to change your mind. It's when times are bad that you almost want to give up. And you almost want to say, you know what, just forget it. This is not for me. But you have two people to listen to. Hopefully you'll choose the right person. Now, for me, I always knew it was like time for change. Here I am, I'm 27 years old. I have one son, and I wanted more for my life. I wanted something different. I wanted something that everyone else didn't have. How many of you have that feeling inside that you're not willing to just get by with what everyone else has? And I knew it was time for change. I knew in order for me to get to this life that I was going to have to make some sacrifices. And those sacrifices for me wasn't easy. I was used to being the mom that came home from work, went outside into the playground with my son, came in, I would fix dinner, do his homework, get him ready for bed. And here I am, I'm starting to work this business, and I'm spending time away from home. And I'm seeing him get upset every time I leave. And I was starting to feel like I don't know if I can adapt to this change because I can see that he's missing me. And I remember this one time, and my son is here. Joshua, are you here? Hey, Joshua. I remember one day I'm at home, and you were upstairs in the window, and you were crying. And you said, Mom, please don't go. Don't leave me. And I sat in my car for about 20 minutes, and I'm just crying. And I didn't know if I should walk back in the house because right now I'm being a bad mom. Or should I go to the meeting and just go and do business because I had already made a commitment. And then I remembered that in order for me to change, that it's not going to be easy. And the hardest part of it is not what most people see. The hardest part of it was that moment. What do you do in that moment? Do you turn around and say, you know what? Because sometimes what happens is the very people you do this business for will be the same people that you stop the business for, will be the same people that can slow you down in the business. And what I decided to do that day was I blew him a kiss and I said, I will be right back. And I promised him that I'm going to work hard so that, you know what, you don't have to worry about me leaving. And I take a look at the life we have today and how he asked for something every 5 seconds. How he wants to be in a great school, how he wants the nice tennis shoes, how he wants to go wherever and buy anything. And now, not only just being able to provide, but also being able to teach him what it means to truly be an entrepreneur, what it means to truly sacrifice, to give your all. And I can only hope that the sacrifices that I've made for all of our children, that they will understand that change had to happen in order for them to have this life, because they vacation where I vacation. They dress like I dress. They have fun like we have fun. And it's been truly a blessing, but it wouldn't happen if I didn't what? If I didn't change. Now, one of the things I had to learn about business is that it's going to be ups and it's going to be downs. I think it's really hard sometimes for people to realize that you won't keep the same organization, that the people that you start with might not be the people that you finish with. And in business, there's so many highs and lows. And in the beginning, I didn't know how to deal with it. I really couldn't deal with coming to the BOM, inviting 10 guests, and 0 people showing up. I couldn't deal with 1 week having 3 people get started in the business, and next week, they don't even return my phone call. I couldn't deal with feeling like, oh my gosh, I've been waiting forever to get this person involved in my business, and then they sign up, and then they do absolutely nothing. I didn't know how to deal with it. I really just thought that maybe it just doesn't work, or it doesn't work for me because it was too many highs and lows. It was too many disappointments. But then I had to learn that, guess what? That's business. Business brings upon just great times, but it also has very low times. And you have to learn how to manage your disappointments and not to get too excited for what someone says they're going to do, or not get too excited for what you think someone is going to do, but get more excited on their actions. Get more excited on their potential of what they actually do with the business. So is it okay to have highs and lows? Absolutely. This one was a hard one. That the faces will change. We're dealing with this right now. The faces are changing, and more than any other time than before. I've always been able to say, you know, we've lost leaders. I've seen people go. And you got to learn how to deal with it, whether it's an up line, a down line, some of your supporters, some of your friends will be with you 1 minute and not support you the next minute. But in this time, we're going to lose some good people. And it's not over. It's just getting started. But I'm here today to tell you that I got a message that I want to share with you. And I want you to know that it is going to be okay, that we will survive, that no matter who leaves, that this company will go on to be a billion-dollar company. But here's the message. How many of you are prayers? Do you believe in prayer? I feel like this is such a big responsibility to be the first diamond in the company. Whatever words I have to say right now means something. And so I was praying, and I said, I just need the right words. I need you to tell me what to say to them. And I have to tell you what happened. I go to bed one night. We're here at the conference. So I go to bed pretty late. It was about 3 in the morning. And all of a sudden, I am awakened out of my sleep at 7 a.m. Now, if you know me, 7 is my lucky number. No alarm clock needed. I wake up, and I see this face, and I see this big, bright angel. And it was huge, and it was shining so bright that I could barely even look at it. And then there was a message that said, read the story of the fallen angel. So I pulled out my phone, and I Googled it. Like we all do, right? Let me Google the story of the fallen angel. Now, I know a little bit about the story, but let me just read it to make sure I'm clear. And just because I'm not going to assume that any of you in here know this story, I'm going to tell you the story. Is that okay? I start reading this story of the fallen angel. And the thing about this angel is that this was the Creator's favorite angel. Favorite. He was beautiful, he was talented, and everyone loved him. And his job was to go to the angels and to take in praise, and then pass the praise on to the Creator. He would take in the praise, and then he would pass it on to the Creator. And somewhere in there, he got confused. Because he started to think that he was equal to the Creator. It caused all of this chaos. And there was a battle. And when the battle took place, this angel was able to convince people why he should be equal to the Creator. Now, these angels had been around for a long time. They knew the difference between the angel and the Creator, but they loved the angel. So much so that when the battle was over, the angel and 1/3 of the angels that followed him were sent down out of heaven. Now, I know what that means, and you're going to have to interpret it your own way. But what I want you to know is that you are going to have to make a decision, and you're going to have to decide between the enemy and eternal success. Now, the part of the story didn't bother me. It actually gave me comfort to know that, oh, wow, this has actually happened before. This is not the first time. Things repeat itself. The question was, what happens afterwards? And you know how this story goes. The Creator is still the Creator. Things were better after they were gone. This is our story, and we're living in the moment. And I can promise you at this time, I'm going to speak to someone of you in this room, is that you don't have to be that way. You can forgive, we can forgive, and things can stay the same. There's still a chance for our heaven to be the same as it was before. Or there's going to be separation. And if you're okay with that, I'm okay with that. But for all of you sitting in the stands, I want you to know what you are about to face. Because this will not be a story for most that will end well. In this business, you have to feed what's feeding you. And what most people won't admit is that you're not feeding it. You're not feeding it. You're not doing meetings. You're sitting back. You're collecting checks. You're not feeding what is feeding you. But it don't work though, right? In order to eat, you have to plant. You have to make sure that there's a harvest for tomorrow. But you can't sit back and look at everyone else and just say that nothing is going on. Nothing is going on because you are sitting and you're not working. You're looking over, but you're not a servant. There's a difference. You have to feed what's feeding you. Now, you have to do the best until you know better. Then when you know better, you do better. This is by Maya Angelou. There's a lot of things along the way that I had to learn getting to this position. A lot of things that I would have done a little different. And I hear this question asked all the time, like, what would you do different knowing what you know today? Well, here's some things. And maybe these things you can relate to. Because these are some things, if you could look back in the past, you would do different too. But when you know better, you do better. I would have worked 10 times harder. I would have forgiven faster. There's so many people, when you're doing business with them, that you don't always get along. But how many of you know sometimes you have to forgive and you have to forget? It only helps you. It makes you a better person. It takes the stress off. Because I can promise you, the person you're angry at is not thinking about you. That upline that you think you're making mad because you're not showing up, because you're not doing anything, they've gone on. They recruited the next person. They're on to the next. And you sit there, you think that you're doing something because you're angry. Nothing happens to the person that moves out of anger. You have to forgive faster. I would have had a deeper belief. Do you know what that means to me? It means that there's been a lot of times, even with success, even with making money, I hear people say all the time, you know, how could that person make all this money? And how could they leave? How could they do something else? It's easy. Because at some point in time, money does not keep belief. It's no amount of money that's going to make you believe. First of all, money didn't get you to the position. Belief got you to the position. And what happens is when you stop believing, the money stops. When you start doubting, the money stops. You don't believe anymore. You thought it was you. You thought it had something to do with your actions, when in actuality, it had nothing to do with your actions. It had everything to do with your belief. Do you know what belief can do? It can move mountains. I would have kept my finances in order. I've made about $6 million. A millionaire since I've been in this business. When you know better, you do better. There's a lot of things that I would have done different up until this point. I would have been more responsible. I might not have my best friend here today. I might not have taken that vacation when we went to Paris and went on that shopping spree for $30,000 in just one day. I might not have just walked into the store And because I could buy a $20,000 watch just because I could. I might have saved more. I might have invested more. I might have done more with my money. If I would have known better, I would have done better. Now, I also would have loved with no limit. I want you to understand what that means. You get hurt so many times by partners who are here today and gone tomorrow. That person that you drive hours for to do a meeting for them, to help them with their business, you spend time with their children, and then they're gone tomorrow. It almost makes you hold back on giving love to the next person because you don't know when their day is up. But if you know, like I know, there is no way to protect yourself. Those who are meant to be will be, and those who are meant to be gone will be gone. I wouldn't have held back. I would have just given everything and not really worried about what the future will bring because I can't predict the future. Only thing I can do is predict my own actions. And I would have loved more and given more and not being so afraid of what can really happen. It's one of my mentors. You guys know who she is, right? I want you to take a look at this quote. It says, "I know for sure that what we dwell on is who we become." Oprah Winfrey. I don't claim to be this businesswoman who has done 1,000,001 other things. But what I do know is that I focus so much on this that it has gotten me to this position. And it's only because this is what I've focused on in my life. Whether things were good, whether things were bad, this is what I decided to focus on. The hard part about success is to focus, because it's really easy to be distracted. And most of the time, the distractions either come from within or they come from the voices of those that you partake in relationships with. So it's been hard. However, this is what I know for sure. If you're positive, positive things will come. If you believe, it'll actually happen. If you focus on, this is what I'm going to do, then things will actually get done. But if you turn it around and you think in the negative, this is not going to work, then what do you think will happen? It won't work. If you turn around and you have any doubt and you say, you know what, I want to do this, I want to be successful, but you're not for sure, then you won't be successful. What you dwell on will actually happen. It took a minute and a second when everything was going on, and I remember all of a sudden all the negative voices started to come because the conversations were negative. And for one split second, I started to say, what if it doesn't work? What's going to happen? Everything that we've built all of these years is going to be gone because the voices were in my head. The conversations were around me. And I'm almost saying, how did I get here? How did I do this? Oh, wait. You mean to tell me that the doors are closing? Oh, you mean to tell me they can't pay us next week? What happened? What happened to the money? I was so into everyone else's thoughts. And someone said to me, when you get up there, oh, we don't know what's going to happen, so you might not want to say anything. You might want to take another stance. You might not want to confess anything at this moment. And I said, confess what? I know what you know. We're not gone. We were paid. The doors didn't close. Oh, you want me to believe what you believe? Oh, wait. You want me to have doubts like you have doubts? You want me to go backwards like you've been going backwards? Okay. I get it. Does it have anything to do with me hitting diamond? And then I decided to make up my own mind. Then I decided I'm not going where you're going because I don't have those kind of beliefs. I don't have doubts. I believe in this company. I believe in every single person that I made the commitment to years ago. And at some point in time, you're either going to have to believe or you're going to have to leave. I'm a leader. I was born for this. Are you ready to get on the battlefield with me? Are you ready to lock arms with me? Are you ready to show every doubter in this company that we will go to $1 billion? I didn't get this far on doubt. I didn't get this far and turn back now. We will be the best. We will continue to be the best. And I got some people right here on the front line that believe like I believe. I got some people in this audience that ain't going nowhere. We didn't come this far so we can turn back now. When they call you, hang up. When they ask you, what do you want to do? Say, I want to do 5 links. When they try to get in your head and make you believe that there is something wrong, you remember my words. It's nothing wrong with you. It's nothing wrong with this company. What's wrong is with their intentions. It's a line right here. You crossing it. It's a line. You about to go over it. It's a line. You forgot who you was with. You forgot you were with the best. And it's a line that you do not cross. At first, I was afraid because I might offend someone. And then I thought about my sister, King Pinion. Who says sometimes you got to get rid and you got to shed some layers in order for you to go to the next level. Sometimes you got to tell people what the truth is, even if they don't like it. I love you, but you are crossing the line. And I'm so happy and honored that God would choose me to be the first, because he knew that I could say it. He knew I wouldn't be afraid. He knew that I would get you together. And he knew we would go to the top, because I believe. And I need you to say, I believe. I need you to say, I believe. I need you to say, I believe. I love you. I'm the first Diamond Senior